What if a single rail line could quietly rewrite how an entire country feels distance, measures time, and stays connected? In a nation where progress has traditionally been symbolized by oil pipelines, glass towers, and sprawling highways, the next great leap forward may arrive in a far more grounded form. Not underground, not in the sky, but moving swiftly, almost silently, along steel rails. Canada is preparing for its first true high-speed rail system, an all-electric network built from the ground up. Stretching more than 1,000 kilometers between Toronto and Quebec City, this project promises to cut travel times dramatically, reduce emissions at scale, and ignite a new era of regional growth. It isn't just a faster way to travel. It's a fundamental rethink of national mobility. Revealed in early 2025 by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the plan goes far beyond upgrading transportation. It places Canada's technological confidence, political resolve, and climate goals under a single spotlight. For a country defined by vast distances and historically slow rail service, this raises a bold question. Can Canada finally deliver on high-speed rail, or will this multi-billion-dollar vision stall before it ever gains momentum? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcome could reshape the country for generations. Today, we're exploring the most ambitious rail initiative Canada has ever attempted. And if you enjoy deep dives like this, subscribing and liking the video is the best way to support the channel. Canada's relationship with high-speed rail has long been defined by hesitation rather than action. Despite having dense urban corridors and a population concentrated along a narrow southern belt, the country never committed to a true high-speed network. Among developed nations, that absence has become increasingly noticeable. While Japan's bullet trains and France's TGV have moved passengers at breathtaking speeds of decades, Canadian rail has remained slow and constrained. Major routes such as Toronto to Montreal and Toronto to Ottawa still depend on shared freight lines, averaging modest speeds and suffering frequent delays, limited service, and inconsistent reliability. This lack of progress has created a growing transportation choke point, especially within the Quebec City or Windsor corridor, where more than half of Canada's population and economic output are concentrated. Highways are increasingly congested, airports are stretched to capacity, and environmental pressures continue to mount. As Canada commits to reaching net zero emissions by 2050, electrified high-speed rail has emerged as a long-overdue solution. What's unfolding now is not just a rail project, but a national response to decades of inaction. It is the largest infrastructure undertaking in Canadian history, and a decisive shift in how the country plans to move forward. The project is called ALTO, a name drawn from Latin and Italian, meaning high. The choice is deliberate. ALTO is meant to elevate how Canadians travel, how regions connect, and how growth aligns with sustainability. Announced in 2025, it represents Canada's clearest step yet toward modernizing transportation for a low-carbon future. At its core, ALTO is a fully electrified, high-capacity passenger rail system designed for speeds approaching 300 kilometers per hour. By drawing millions of short-haul trips away from airplanes and private vehicles, it aims to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions, ease traffic congestion, and improve air quality in major urban centers. The planned route spans over 1,000 kilometers, linking Toronto, Peterborough, Ottawa, Montreal, Laval, Trois-Rivières, and Quebec City. Each station will be newly built or extensively modernized, designed with accessibility, seamless transfers, and last-mile connectivity in mind. This corridor is strictly passenger-only. No freight traffic, no level crossings. Just dedicated, fully grade-separated tracks built to international high-speed rail standards. The system will be delivered through a public-private partnership led by the Cadence Consortium, with operations expected to roll out gradually through the 2030s and reach full service in the early 2040s. Building a system of this scale is an immense technical challenge. As of 2025, ALTO remains in its design and co-development phase. Engineers are refining route alignments, conducting environmental assessments, and laying the groundwork for one of the most complex construction efforts in the country's history. The infrastructure demands are significant. Fully separated tracks require extensive bridging, tunneling, and earthworks, particularly through southern Ontario's mixed terrain and Quebec's river valleys. Electrification will rely on high-voltage overhead systems optimized for efficiency, regenerative braking, and future grid decarbonization. The trains themselves are expected to resemble proven global platforms, comparable to France's TGV or Siemens high-speed models, but adapted for Canadian weather, safety regulations, and winter resilience. Stations must be built to endure harsh climates while supporting security, accessibility, and passenger flow at scale. Financing Alto is as complex as building it. The project follows a hybrid public-private model, combining federal investment with private capital and international expertise. In February 2025, the Canadian government committed nearly $3 billion over 6 years to fund planning, land acquisition, environmental reviews, and early engineering. This initial funding enabled the Cadence Consortium to lead development, supported by institutional investors, debt financing, and revenue-sharing frameworks. The total cost is estimated to fall between $59 and $89 billion, with roughly $74 billion often cited as a central benchmark. Key partners include the Canada Infrastructure Bank, provincial governments, and international collaborators, such as France's SNCF, contributing both funding and decades of high-speed rail expertise. The timeline reflects the project's sheer scale. Planning and assessments are expected to continue into the early 2030s, followed by phased construction. Early segments may begin service in the late 2030s, with full operation between Toronto and Quebec City targeted for the early 2040s. This gradual rollout is designed to manage risk, maintain political continuity, and allow financial flexibility over time. Still, Alto has not escaped criticism. The most common concern is cost. For many, a price tag approaching $100 billion feels excessive, particularly for a corridor already served by highways and airlines. Others point to California's troubled high-speed rail project as a cautionary tale, warning of delays, cost overruns, and shifting political priorities. The public-private partnership model has also raised questions about transparency, long-term public control, and ticket affordability, with fears that high fares could limit access for lower-income travelers. Indigenous consultation presents both legal and moral obligations. Portions of the route intersect traditional lands, making meaningful engagement essential, not only for approval, but as a measure of Canada's reconciliation commitments. Environmental groups, while supportive of long-term emissions reductions, remain cautious about construction impacts on ecosystems and communities. Politically, Alto must endure decades of changing governments, economic cycles, and evolving technologies, including competition from emerging electric aviation. Every one of these factors adds uncertainty to an already complex megaproject. Yet the potential benefits are equally vast. Environmentally, Alto could become one of Canada's most powerful climate tools, shifting millions of trips away from carbon-intensive travel and accelerating progress toward net-zero goals. Economically, the project is expected to create more than 50,000 jobs during construction alone, injecting billions into manufacturing, engineering, and supply chains. Smaller cities along the route stand to gain the most. New stations in places like Peterborough and Trois-Rivières could attract investment, stimulate housing, and encourage growth beyond major metropolitan cores. Socially, Alto promises to bring regions closer together, strengthening national cohesion through shared infrastructure. Faster, more reliable travel could improve quality of life, expand access opportunity, and boost productivity across the corridor. Imagine reaching Montreal from Toronto in just over 3 hours, or traveling between Ottawa and Montreal in under an hour. These aren't just time savings. They are shifts in how Canadians live, work, and connect. The future of Alto remains uncertain, but its ambition is undeniable. If delivered successfully, it will be far more than a rail line. It will mark a turning point in Canada's economic modernization, climate strategy, and urban development. Projects like Alto don't just shape transportation, they reveal who a country chooses to become. They test patience, vision, and the willingness to invest in a future that won't pay off overnight. Whether Alto succeeds or struggles, it already represents a moment where Canada chose to think bigger than the next election cycle. And one last thought, Alto is more than steel and electricity. It's a story of ambition stretching across forests, rivers, and cities. Every bridge, every tunnel, every track will carry not just passengers, but a vision of Canada's future, faster connections, cleaner travel, and new opportunities for every community along its path. As the trains begin to glide, one day soon, through snowstorms, across valleys, and along bustling urban corridors, they will carry a promise that Canada can overcome distance, embrace innovation, and redefine what it means to be connected. It could even set global benchmarks for winter-ready high-speed rail, paving the way for future routes within Canada and potential cross-border links to the United States. If you want more deep, cinematic breakdowns of the world's boldest infrastructure projects, future-shaping ideas, and hidden systems that quietly change how we live, make sure you're subscribed. Your support keeps this channel moving forward. Until next time, stay curious and keep looking beyond the surface.